climbing, you see the mistake is now being led over towards shore. You make your way to the top of the deck, and as you come across, one by one, you see there waiting for you is probably about 10 figures, all in various scattered bits of seafaring attire. Leathers and billowing cloths that seem to have seen many a journey out here on the open Lucidian Ocean. But immediately your attention is grabbed by the central figure, a female elf with light brown skin, with kind of red wild hair that falls and like clustered strings around her face and down the back. You see that she's wearing a long sleeveless gray coat with a high collar that just kind of just bends at the edge of the shoulders, with a thick scarf that's around her neck. You see she has heavy elbow-length gloves and knee-high boots that look weathered with use and probable brutality. They're stained in places where that could only have been acquired by meeting the face of somebody else. As you step up, she has her arms kind of crossed in front of her, cocks her head to the side, and looks towards you specifically and goes, "Well, hello, Captain. So, you have returned from your journey, your grasp, huh?"
We suffered heavy damage and casualties, but we have returned successfully.
Successful. Well, wondrous. Please, give me the item requested. She turns back to you. And begins to just kind of walk a circle around you, arms behind her back now.
I can see it.
Kind of folded. Jean Grasp, so you come to me with a new crew, and you tell me that you are successful, but yet you are not. Describe to me what transpired to prevent you from acquiring this thing you have paid for.
Well, you see, we now know the location of the artifact you seek. It's as good as ours.
And how did this terrible, terrible thing happen to you? And she reaches up and kind of touches the side of your neck.
Oh, God.
Her hand passes through
It's real sore.
the illusion, and she steps back and goes,
Shit.
All part of the plan.
"I must commend you. It has been a very long time since someone has been so bold with such massive balls to come onto my ship and think that perhaps I got where I am today not by seeing through a few paltry illusions."
Well, I must commend you on your perceptiveness. My balls are quite large. And I will drop the mask.
You drop the disguised self. Okay. As you say that and the disguised self drops, you hear a series of sounds that you hadn't really heard in succession before.
Oh.
As you see most of the crew now wielding some variation of the firearms you had seen both in Hupperduke or the traveling armies of the Empire eastward towards the boundaries of the Jorhas. Have them trained on the lot of you. The captain still now has her hands crossed in front of you and goes, "Well, I guess now that we are out in the open, who the fuck are you, and how did you come in the possession of the myth?"
That is a wonderful story, one that I would love to share. You have the honor of being in the company of the Mighty Nine.
But there are only 7 of them.
It's a long story, but I'm afraid we won't be able to tell it or further converse unless we have an atmosphere of equal exchange here, and this hostile act is not a step in the right direction, Captain.
So, you are the captain of that ship. Are you suggesting that we parley?
Yes. Say yes, Ford. Say yes.
Yes.
Very well. Well, since you've been so forthright, Tracy, Philip, Sapphire, Cornelius, Janet, and Gilligan.
They're gone?
Welcome. Welcome aboard the Squall Eater. I am Captain Avantika. Now, the fact that you are here, that you made your way across the reef, that you managed to best our sister ship, and the crew on board, which I assume have all been dispatched.
Indeed.
The captain continues. Well, then my next question is, what are you planning here? Why have you gone through all of this trouble to kill my crew, to bring the ship right back to me, and then, to be perfectly honest, prostrate yourself before us?
Well, I
That's a really
imagine there
good
must
question.
be a hefty reward for the item that you seek. We went through great troubles just to acquire it. Perhaps.
Do you know the purpose of this item?
Yep.
She looks at you with an eye that has tore through 1,000 lies and gives a surprising smile of acknowledgement. Interesting. Well, you've proven that you are talented at least to have survived this far. But I'm a bigger fan of loyalty. Talent and loyalty. Well, that is obviously my birthday. As it stands, the Mighty Nine, there are two paths you can walk. You, one, could live under the crew and prove yourselves as both skilled and as trustworthy as I hope you may be, if our goals are indeed aligned. Perhaps even join us if the deeds please me. Or two, we weigh your corpses down with rocks and leave you here amongst the reef.
Those are the only options there?
I'm afraid so, little Sapphire.
Cool.
So, Captain, what was your actual name?
Forward.
Captain Ford. What will it be?
Actually, Captain Tusktooth, but
We'll stick with Ford.
Cornelius, what say you in this highly delicate matter?
I don't know. I've got some very specific burial needs if we're actually going to go that way. So I'm kind of unhappy with everything at the moment. I would really like to negotiate just some base points of this deal.
At the moment you say this, you feel this cold sensation in the back of your skull as one of the cocked rifles is now pressed up against the base of the head.
Do I know what a rifle is?
You have
Do
no
you
idea.
know what a car?
Ah, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Oh.
She goes, there is no negotiation. I'm sorry, but the choice you make now, that is...
That is not necessary.
Ah.
We would absolutely love to prove our loyalty in your service.
I would say this, though, just as a curious tourist, if you were to kill us, you would not find the location of the item.
Well, based on the fact that you brought yourselves this far to tell me that you have it, I would assume that it's somewhere either on your ship across the way that I currently am in possession of, or it's on your persons and we could rummage through your bodies to find it afterwards. So, do you agree?
We don't have a choice, so yes, yes,
It's a resounding yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Well then, Mighty Nine, welcome to the Squall Eater. all the guns kind of pull back a bit. Everyone stays present and they're keeping an eye on you. Like, as much as this agreement has happened, there's still a sense of careful, watchfulness from the crew. But Avantika seems to drop that kind of intensity and reaches forward a hand to shake yours.
So do we pick our quarters first? Or do we get assigned roles? Or is there a uniform that we need to wear?
Does the yogurt come before or after? Really looking forward to that.
If you're hungry, there are plenty of fruits to pluck from the trees on the island. First order of business, some of my men are going to work to begin repairing my other ship. In the meantime, relax, bring your things aboard. I would like to question some of you about what you know. I would like to see the first test of you proving your loyalty. You have this item I require? You have the sphere? Where is it?
It's very dangerous. And before we tell you anything about it, we want to make sure that you know how to handle it.
Little goblin girl. First, have a decent idea of what I'm doing.
A decent idea. But we've seen it do things. Scary things.
Terrible thing.
We've seen someone melt while touching it.
Make a deception check.
That's a 12. Oh, -3. A 9.
She goes, 9. Oh my goodness, that sounds terrible. Well, obviously, we cannot have you touching it then.
If you don't mind my asking,
Please, cut through the bullshit for me, please. Captain Ford,
Tusk Tooth.
will you tell me if I call you Tusktooth?
Yes.
Then, Captain Tusktooth, please tell me.
Just trying to use them titties.
If I could. You seem so anxious, and when was the last time the item was in your possession? I'm so excited to reunite you with it. I feel like if you tell us your story, we'll share in that sense of triumph.
Respectfully, you're not in a position, once again, to negotiate. You tell me, and I'll tell you. It's a little back and forth. But honestly, the one who has to prove their loyalty right now is not myself.
You're correct. I have it on very good authority. The island that is surrounded by the Deep Row Reef houses the item you see.
So it found its way in pot. Get the
Woo! 20.
And you know precisely where it lies in the reef?
I do.
Show me. And she pushes forward the map. The same similar map to what you were given.
Yep.
You have it with you?
I do. Fuck, I picked the one reef that doesn't have any goddamn islands. She doesn't know that, and I'm not saying this out loud.
Yep. Secret island.
Yeah. Oh, Uncharted Islands?
Yeah. Hey.
Let's not do that. If you make your way to the Deep Row Reef, right off the shores of Vide Cay, you'll find an unguarded old ruined fort. There, the island is being protected and held.
So you stole my ship and came all this way to tell me that this item was not in your possession and is another place. Why were you coming to the island? I'm very confused.
Well, you see, Marquis Lepoil let us know that you were in dire need of it and that there was heavy coin and glory in its delivery. Now, as you can see, I lost my original crew and found these bunch of fuckwits. But you see, I do owe them a little bit of coin for their trouble, and I sure would hate empty-handed. Plus, I want to see what happens when you're reunited with your oppression.
Well, first off, Marius Le Poil is merely a bullshit messenger, but I'm glad at least he could bring you to us. Is that all you know about the actual sphere?
Perhaps.
She's looking right into you, like her lids half closed, this dagger stare of trying to read any sort of give.
Captain, I hope you understand that this is not my first rodeo. And if I were to tell you everything that I know right now, why would you need me alive?
Very well, let's wait a bit. The object I have not seen before, but I know of it, and hoping to bring it to this island for a purpose. I had recently hired an individual known as Jamedi Kosko, a very well-established adventurer, delver of dungeons, and Kosko is a, not Costco.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard too. Sounds like
Costco?
C-O-S-K-O, Costco.
Great pizza bites.
yeah. You can get your crew in bulk.
Yeah. No, take it easy,
To spend a few days across the jungles of the island to see what there is to be found there. You see, this object, this sphere, it needs to return. There is a temple in there that is from long ago and has been since refitted by its current denizens. Something at the very bottom of that temple requires to be reunited with this thing I seek. Does the name Ukotoa mean anything to you?
Sure as fuck doesn't. Could you say that again slower?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you have a very thick accent. Sometimes it is... I'm losing a couple of things here and there, no offense.
She, you see as she throws a quick dagger in the direction of Caleb that drags the cheese from his hand and sticks to the wall.
Was I eating cheese?
Apparently. You were.
My perception is so low.
Stay away from the captain's cheese!
I thought that was a metaphor.
That was a triple-aged Gouda.
No, but really, what did you say? What was the name?
Ukotoa. Spelled U-K, apostrophe O-T-O-A. Ukotoa, the great Leviathan.
Gate of the Leviathan?
Wait, what?
The great Leviathan.
Oh, the great Leviathan. The great
Well, I
Leviathan.
have a
like,
good sense of it.
It's a fucking Leviathan.
Friggin' warlock.
I don't know what the fuck that means!
What? What do you mean?
It's in your book. It's in your book.
Her eyes are trained on Ford as she says this. For you see, I am the chosen of Ukotoa. As she pulls the scarf down from under her neck, and you can see kind of in the sternum there's a tattoo of an eye.
You're Ukotoa?
No, she's the chosen.
You're the chosen of Ukotoa. Sorry.
Yeah.
The sound, the speed.
You see, this great serpent once ruled the Lucidian Ocean.
Leviathan.
Your reactions are killing me, Travis. Shortly after the calamity washed this land clean, and Zahir, the cloaked serpent god, was banished long away, one of his greatest creations was left to rule this ocean. The indigenous people of this series of islands, the Swain Islands, called the Kinau, were granted the blessing of Uk'otoa. And nothing, nothing and no one could stand before them. However, the surviving worshippers of this once powerful god now banished grew jealous. And sealed him beneath the rocky depths of the ocean, defaced the temples built in their name. I seek to bring him back. And with their blessing, these seeds were mine. So let me tell you, you've put in with the proper lot.
So say we all. Yeah.
She puts the scarf back up to hide the tattoo. So, I've shown you mine.
Lord.
You show me yours.
How can you be certain that you're the only chosen one of Uk'otoa?
Bless you.
Uk'otoa.
Let's all do that together.
Slow, okay.
Well, I'm not certain, but I'm the one who has the dreams.
The dream.
Okay, she said dreams. She said dreams. She has
What dreams? You have what dreams do?
You do. You have dreams.
This big smile curls across her face, and you watch her go a little flush. She goes, "What kind of dreams?"
Do you often wake up vomiting salt water? Do you have wet dreams?
You
You don't have to be embarrassed.
you beat me to that by like 0.2346 seconds.
She beats you to the wet dream?
She looks a little confused, but says, "No, unlike some, I can hold my brine."
You're not looking at me, right? I'm a. You have dreams. I've had dreams of being deep underwater. There's a giant eye that sees me. I hear a voice speaking to me, but I can't reply. Does that ring any bells?
Her smile just grows wider. So Uk'otoa has spoken to you as well. So perhaps it was not just some strange coincidence you found your way here then?
Perhaps not. Perhaps this is destiny.
Oh my
I
God,
must
you
tell
guys.
you, I am very eager to see what this leads to. I haven't been entirely honest. The item you seek does not lie on Vile Court. What the fuck is it called? Vile Cave! It does not reside there. I have it protected in an alternate dimension, and I'll use minor image to show the sphere and make it disappear. If we can work together, I would like to accompany you to this temple you speak of. I would like to see it find its resting place.
Also, we're not just some dumbass crew we hired. We totally murdered all of your guys, so.
And you know what the craziest part is? We don't really know why we did it. We're loco.
Avantika it's almost a palpable passion behind her, like the excitement and the adrenaline is like pumping through her body, and you can see her now like leaning forward in her seat. Her feet are off the desk and her hands are kind of grasping the sides of it in her gloves, and she's just looking across most of you but focused on forward and says, well, I'm very curious to see where this leads as well. Then perhaps let us stay the night on board. Let's wait for Jamedi. Wait for Jamedi to return. If he's plotted out the course to this temple.
If who's plotted out the course of the temple? Who?
Jamedi. Costco.
Costco.
And if this is indeed the Kismet you speak of, what better way to prove your loyalty to me and my ship than to be the ones to go into this temple with? There you go, there you go.
As we turn to leave the cabin, the captain's quarters, quick look at anything that looks like info about where this temple is in case she decides to fuck slit our throats in the middle of the night.
Make a perception check.
A 10.
A 10. You don't see any indication of the temple or anything, but you see now above the door as you're exiting, there's a small shelf, and you can see what looks to be a tiny little black iron shrine that looks to be a almost like an Ouroboros serpent that's eating its own tail, but there's about every inch or so there's an eye across the length of its body. And in the center of it, you see a single metal sphere with a similar cloven line down the center of it.
Awesome.
And you hear the footsteps come by your room, and the door opens. And the captain looks inside and goes, Captain Ford? Care to join me?
But of course.
Right this way. And she walks and heads towards her quarters, the ocean. And as soon as the door closes behind, turns around and looks and goes, so, I would like to talk with you about how you have been reached out to, how you are touched by this magnificent entity. Uk'otoa. It has been a very long time since I've met anyone else chosen. So please tell me how this happened.
Before this goes any further, because I'm fascinated,
Yeah?
I would like to attempt to go into Frumpkin, the 1 ounce elf owl, if possible.
Yep. I'm gonna still kind of up on the deck.
Yeah, I remember where that room was, so Frumpkin is taking a little fly around.
Okay.
It's better when somebody's watching.
All right. So Frumpkin goes and perches on the outer balcony of the Squall Eater.
Captain, I admit, I too am very encouraged to find someone that seems to have gone through the same sort of visions and trials that I have. You said it's been a long time since you've met another chosen? Are you saying you've met previous? I found myself feeling I was the only one that was experiencing this vision.
Thought you were going to say something else.
She kind of leans her shoulder against the doorway, looking over at you, her eyes kind of distantly reaching through memories, and goes, there has been one of them. It's been many years. So, this came to me through a series of unexpected. You see her searching for the right words and says, I've always considered myself very lucky. And at first I thought this was a terrible portent. When this beautiful Uk'otoa spoke to me. But it was a purpose that nobody else in Darkfall was bestowed on. And with that, I began to gather my... And it took a while, but each of them began to believe as well. All of them support. And when this is done, the blessing is... They be as unstoppable behind me as I am on the sea.
The blessing, you say? I haven't heard speak blessing. I've heard words of encouragement. And your crew believes as you do.
They have now, yes. I've read the books. I've looked up about the Kinao. I have learned of the history. And as they once were the masters of the Lucidian Ocean, so too will be I. So too can be us.
I look forward to this very, very much. I noticed as we were leaving your quarters that beautiful iron piece above your doorway, the snake circling back upon itself, the eye in the middle, but it seemed there were small eyes all around the body of the snake.
They say that Kotoa is an infinite length entity, a serpent that entwines the entirety of the water, that is but eyes across its body to see what else it must function.
Sounds
Beautiful.
exactly the word I was searching for. Speaking of beautiful. I was so taken by that marking, that tattoo you had. I was wondering if you might show it to me again.
I think
Make a
they're about
persuasion
to
check.
get naked.
I'm uncomfortable with what's happening. Natural 20.
She kind of tugs down the scarf to reveal the tattoo without breaking eye contact and goes, I'll do you one better.
Zip.
Removes the glove off of her right hand. And in the palm, you see a familiar yellow eye emerging from the center.
Okay,
This is the blessing, at least the first stage. I have been chosen to be one step to his unsealing.
Are you between you, like a fucking eye or a tattoo of an eye?
Make a perception check.
Yeah, 16.
You hope it's a tattoo, but the way the candlelight hits, it looks smooth,
Oh, God.
somewhat glassy.
Fuck. That's getting weird. There's some Pan Labyrinth bullshit going on. My. Fuck it. I feel now you and I are more connected than I could have ever imagined, and I'll summon the sword.
With a flash and a scattering of ocean water across the far wall of the chamber, the falchion emerges in your grasp. It's what it's always done!
Wait, which sword? What do you mean sword?
Caleb can't hear any of this, but in the middle of the room he says,
Clarification.
"It is getting very kinky in that room."
Jester's just pacing back and forth.
Yeah.
She immediately takes a step forward, like holding her palm forward still, and not even looking at you, just looking at the sword and specifically focusing on the eye in the center of the hilt. And she's speechless for a moment. You hear her breathe in. Suddenly. Then perhaps it was destiny.
Perhaps it was. Do you know what will happen if we...
Sorry. Sorry.
Do you know what will happen if we take this sphere to the place of its choosing? Have you seen what's unleashed? Or have you only heard?
I've only heard. As far as I know, when these survivors of Zahir, this long-sealed god, grew jealous that they are the ones who put Okatoa away below the ocean. If I'm correct, and this is one of the original temples, then I think we can bring him back.
I admit I find myself very curious.
This is but one. There are 3 I know of.
3 temples.
3 temples across the Swain Islands.
All of the same construct, all looking for the same... What do you call it?
I don't know if there's a name for it. I just call it the sphere, the eye.
Same.
I'll be honest, the dreams that I have, it's mostly just feeling and an occasional word, like he's being held back. But I feel that if we can, one by one, release him from these bindings, he can be more direct with us, be more direct with his blessing. And we will bequeath the sea unto us.
My God, the sea. What does the eye say to you? Anything you remember?
Tell me to watch, to learn.
To consume?
To consume.
Oh my God, Matt and Travis are gonna make out!
It's just so much, you guys. It's just so much.
Details! What is happening? What is happening?
I confess, having spent so much time on the water, the command over it seems like too great a gift to receive, but I crave it.
She steps around the desk
Oh, fuck.
and just places her fingers on the hilt of the sword where the eye is. Then you'll need your rest.
Indeed.
M'lady.
We will all... I will put my hand on hers and say, we will all need our rest for the trials to come. Thank you for sharing your story with me. I don't feel quite as alone in this.
Thank you for your honesty, eventually.
Like an onion, you gotta peel it, you know.
Understood. Anyway, and she pulls her hand away. Go. And may sweet dreams find you.
I turn and I head towards the door, and as I get there, I look back. And I walk away.
Question, Caleb?
Yeah, I did not stop watching her after he left.
Right.
What is she doing?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
Ooh.
Roll well.
Just a 10.
Okay. Okay. You watch as she takes her glove and puts it back on, kind of looking at her palm as she does. Looks out over the ocean and kind of steps out to the railing, where Frumpkin has to kind of move away to get out of the visual perspective, and just kind of spends a minute or so looking over the water. Then turns back, goes and closes the door, walks over to underneath the main doorway where that shrine is, and she pulls a stool up to stand up to where, at eye level to where the shrine is. And then she pulls her glove off once more, makes a small cut on her finger, and just drops a few pieces of blood onto the small iron kind of shrine. It's maybe about that big.
Oh.
And then puts the glove back on, mumbles a few words beneath her breath, though Frumpkin might not be able to see from this perspective. And then goes ahead and snuffs the candles. The captain kind of claps her hands twice again, to get everyone's attention. Vira, look after the ship, look after our men, their men. Jamali, lead the way.
Jamali?
I am excited to see what we uncover together, huh?
Indeed.
And I hope you slept well. Come, to the boats.
Might I ask, you said your men are dedicated to this cause as well. How much do you share with them?
I share what is needed. I share with them the elements of the dreams and visions I've been given. For me, it is one thing to have a loyal crew. It is another to have a crew that has faith in you beyond being just captain. I do not want a mutiny. And what's more effective than someone that thinks not only are you a proper captain, but you are the link to their god, huh?
Very effective.
There are ranging levels of belief, maybe, but I think with the time we spend together and the willingness to understand the possibilities of having a captain with such capabilities at their disposal, that, well, riches are not that far off on the horizon, huh?
Well, blind belief is quite remarkable. I'm assuming you've shown them things to garner some level of expectation of your abilities?
Oh, do not misunderstand. I myself have gutted and cut down dozens of men who have attempted to take my position.
I don't doubt it for a moment.
Speaking of which, and she removes her dagger and rapier and kind of looks about, and you can see beautiful, beautiful weapons, very, very well made and very well kept. In fact, most of her equipment that she has, you can see her like fiddling with occasionally to just like adjust and clean things as she moves through. There's like a very forceful intent to make sure that everything is properly placed and well taken care of on her person. But she looks about and goes, and as much as we are keeping an eye on us ahead, I am still keeping an eye on all of you, of course.
I would expect nothing less.
Because while I would like to believe this newfound kinship could make for some very incredible possibilities in the future, you cross me, and this blade will find your heart faster than anything you've seen move. Huh?
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I hope not either. And she kind of reaches out and pokes your nose and turns around.
She booped you.
She booped you.
She just gets a finger full of sweat.
Was
Just
all
that
of that
gross.
for Alta here, or were they off a bit?
They were off a bit. This was kind of away from everybody.
Someone with that stink face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Captain Avantika and Jumeti, did you want to stay with us in the bubble?
There's no facilities or anything.
I mean, it's kind of stinky in there, but
Jumeti
if you
goes,
want to...
I am unfamiliar with what this bubble is you speak of.
It's whatever, it's a little bubble.
It's like a tent.
It's like a tent, basically.
I am okay.
Okay.
And he heads back to continuing to arrange his tent. Avantika kind of tilts ahead and goes, I assume this is some sort of protective measure for your night's rest, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Then I would be delighted to join you.
I mean, you don't feel like you're obligated.
Believe me, it is my honor.
All right.
Great, cool.
Sheathes the rapier, but keeps the dagger drawn and turned around in her hand, so it's kind of face down, and just kind of looks over her shoulder both ways out towards the darkness. So, how spacious is this?
And Schuldigung, I'm sorry. Now the owl is pitter-patting on Avantika's head.
It's just walking along the head?
Walking.
Just, not constantly, but just like in a cute way.
I whispered in his ear, make it poop.
Make it puke?
Make it poop on her head.
Are you putting the umlaut over the O's in the poop? Puke?
What are you talking
You said
about?
pupe.
wrong with
Avantika
that?
puts the finger up towards Frumpkin.
Don't do it.
He flickers up to the finger
Make it poop on her finger.
Unrealistic.
and bats his whatever I say. Bats little 1 ounce owl eyes at Avantika.
Interesting.
Have you never seen an owl before?
Not one so small and adorable and as docile.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cute.
Frumpkin poops.
Really? Hey, Avantika. How many dudes you think you killed?
What, in all of my years?
Yeah.
I don't know, I stopped counting it around maybe 50.
Oh. That's awesome.
It's a high number.
Yeah, that's a big number.
But in my line of work, it is important to not hesitate when some drunk asshole tries to, I don't know, take your ship.
We can't relate at all. Nope.
Well, anyway, I will be taking a nap with one eye open. Good night, everyone. And she kind of settles into her camping garb. Who's keeping watch?
She's ripping her pillow tight for inside.
Yeah, also, we're being very quiet because we don't want to be heard, but while we're in here, Frumpkin, over a period of like 10 or 15 minutes, just goes, you see this, goes poop, 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 along the ground, poop, 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 hops onto Avantika's boot.
Okay.
Poop, 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 poop. Poop, 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 poop. Eventually stands on top of her dagger, and I cast Identify through touch of my familiar. And he weighs 1 ounce.
Yeah, that's true.
1 ounce is good. 1 ounce owl. It's the best band.
The 1 ounce owl.
Avantika, who, as mentioned before, was sleeping with one eye open, essentially, is kind of rested there. And then right as you begin to go through the actions of the casting, there is a flash of motion.
Oh no.
What is Frumpkin's armor class? The Frumpkin's armor class.
Oh, I'm sure it's terrible. Hold on a second. Creature.
Go to the creature.
Is there a negative?
Creature tab of D&D Beyond.
It is 11.
Frumpkin suffers 5 points of piercing damage.
Oh no!
As Avantika instinctually kind of.
Why did you do that?
Why did you do that?
You know why I did that.
Do you know why I did that?
Hey.
Because it was just your owl. Please do not go peering. It is not wanted, huh?
Okay. Don't mind me while I make another owl. And I begin casting Find Familiar to bring back as a 1 ounce hour.
The cycling pumpkin.
Yeah.
A few more hours, and I think we will be on the outskirts of the village.
I've cast Pass Without a Trace on all of us again.
All right. So, yes.
Mr. Giametti, what are we going to find when we get there? Are there any baddies?
Oh, there are plenty of these snake people where they live. We will have to be very quiet. We'll have to gauge our passage through their town. Try to not be seen, and if we are seen, eliminate whoever catches us before it can notify the rest of them of our presence. Make our way towards the central structure. Trust me, you'll know it when you see it. Looks back to Avantika and says, and I believe that is the quarry in which you paid for beneath that, correct? Avantika goes, that is correct. In we go and see where it takes us. So, shall we? Jamedi leads the way. All right, come forward. You all begin to slowly make your way into the jungle as you cast Pass Without a Trace.
And I lean in way into Not's ear and say, oh, by the way, Caduceus says that Jamedi is actually a dead thing.
What? What? No, but what? Shit! Why are we following him then?
Wait, I lean in and I say, are we whispering now? Are we whispering again?
No, they're gone.
No, we're whispering.
Telling Not that Jamedi is a dead thing. Caduceus says Jamedi is dead.
What?
He's dead.
Keep it on the DL.
The dead low?
Why are we following him?
Just because he's dead doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
You're whispering too.
Yes, of course I am.
We don't have a choice.
What if he came here, was killed, and was sent to come get us, to bring us back as feeding for whatever's down there?
What if we let the pirate queen tie rocks to our feet and we're dead? We just have to do this. We can kill them later.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Oh, you're still here? Shit!
Well, I hadn't left yet. I was curious to see your
Did you
pattern.
know? Where are you?
You don't see it. The voice is just coming from nowhere.
Is Jamedi here?
Make a perception check.
18.
Looking around, you do not see Jamedi immediately in the vicinity.
Is he on speakerphone?
Avantika!
No, this is Avantika.
Avantika!
Right.
Did you know he was dead?
We were specifically was not telling you because I knew you were going to panic.
Did you know he was a dead guy?
I was not aware, but now I am very curious as to where you found this information and what you think this means.
I just know things. I don't know what it means. I was trying to find a moment to figure out if you knew or if we should tell you or if this was part of some sort of plan. I just hadn't figured it out, and for some reason I had not realized that I was walking around with a bunch of gossips. Well, it's what I get, I suppose, for trying to be sneaky about things.
Nice job, guys. Nice job. He's gonna fucking leave again. Good job.
Whose side are you on?
I've been doing my best not to be thrown by it. Seems like he's been standing up all right.
He's done work for me before and was successful. He has.
Cool.
Wait, why would you?
Has he always been dead? Is this a recent thing? Where are you?
Don't worry about it. But nevertheless, he has done his job so far. I assume we just keep a close eye. If ever he decides to give any sign of turning on any of us, well, it's 8 against 1.
Indeed. I'll take out several feet of rope from the bag of holding and say, we should do this before he achieves the destination for
See you on the other side. And you watch as the dust kind of... The footprints.
This is why I was trying to keep it on the down low.
Why?
I knew certain members of the party may get a little excited. I myself had a moment of panic. I had a moment of panic myself. But I've been keeping it
Do
contained.
you feel okay now?
No, there's a dead guy walking around. That's unsettling. That's like unsettling to my very core, I gotta admit. But you know.
Avantika kind of saunters up next to you, Ford, and says, so, how long has it been for you, huh?
How long has it been for...
Since you've been called.
Oh, Oh, are people listening, or are we kind of by ourselves?
We'll say for this purpose, you guys are out of earshot of most of the group.
Actually, that night after our combo, I had another dream.
What's into his destiny? What happened? Tell me everything.
I found myself under the ocean, and then I saw these visions of people that I knew in my life, some that had wronged me, some that were very dear to me, and I had to force my way through them up this staircase. And when I reached the top, have you ever heard the word reward?
I am familiar with this promise.
It was astounding, incredible, hard to believe. It was almost as if the oceans obeyed my commands.
Glancing her expression, she's like enthralled, and there's a moment where her head turns and you see a flash of jealousy in her eyes. And then it reverts back and she goes, that sounds incredible.
How long has it been for you?
A few years, about.
Yeah. You know, beginner's luck, right?
Apparently. Her eyes are still locked on yours, and she kind of leans forward and takes her fingers and puts them through the side of your hair and goes, I can trust you, right?
Of course.
And you trust these people?
With my life.
Good. And she puts her fingers the rest of the way through your hair, through the back of your head, and kind of pulls you close and headbutts you a little bit and then lets you go. And gets up and walks off. And you can see the southern wall of Avantika's rushing back towards you. Well done, congratulations, shall we?
Where were you?
I was inspecting the other chambers as they opened.
Did you find anything?
Yeah, well, what shall
Some
we?
eggs and a dead body, huh?
What's the dead body?
There's a corpse in the other chamber.
Anything good?
Rotted flesh and some bones.
Oh, you must know all about that.
I've seen a few in my time. Perhaps even caused a few. She kind of looks at you with a grin. And you watch as this like brief burst of flame kind of in front. Oh, this is going to be so much fun.
Indeed. Captain, I feel like we are having all the fun ourselves. Perhaps you and your friend would like to take the lead in this next round.
That was not part of the arrangement. You are proving your use to me as my companions and part of my team. As the captain of the ship and as your superior, I tell you what to do, and you do it.
I mean, we're not on the ship right now, though, right? Hard to captain a ship when you're 100 feet underground.
Yeah, anything could happen right here.
So what, you kill me, then return and my entire crew just wipes you out as you arrive?
Kill you? My goodness, we were just trying to offer you a little bit of fun for this next stage. We have no
I can
problem
read between the
going
lines quite strongly, therefore. I appreciate that. Look, this is not me trying to impose my will, just continue the arrangement we made. And I do not feel like taking the lead, no. That is not the safest route for the captain, huh? You hear Avantika's voice echo from across the way. She goes, these are the chosen. She brings light over towards the one of Ukatoa on the wall and goes, I guess that makes this one me? And she takes her finger and kind of takes a little blood from the corner of her mouth in the fight and draws a little smiley face on one of the three. And this one is you? And goes and draws another face on the middle one.
I can see the resemblance. The question is, if that's you and that's me, who's our third friend?
It's a very good question.
You said you had met only one other chosen before.
Only one, yes.
And what happened to them?
They were a very informative partner. The other one that introduced me to the great possibility of power under Ukator. We traveled this ocean for quite a number of years together, but they proved to be a coward. They took something important to our mission and vanished. And I've spent many years trying to recover what they stole. And with no luck, I figured it was more worth my time to just pillage enough coin to pay other people to find them for me. And so far, based on the fact they brought you to me, much more successful endeavor. Huh?
Indeed. This person that seemed to have shown you the light, did you try to track them down? Do you know anything about them or where they might be? They would seem to be very useful in our current situation.
This is very true. Well, it seems I may have some information. Let's get back to the ship. Huh? Let's finish our business here and let's talk over a glass of wine.
Well, we're obviously not in a huge rush. We have not explored all of this.
This is true. And she begins to make her way towards the well at the center of the chamber. At this point, Avantika has walked to the edge of the well and kind of looks down into the space below.
I walk up behind her and I just go, ha!
Do you really?
Yeah.
Like pushing her?
Yeah, I don't actually push her in, but I just want
Okay.
to freak her out.
Yeah, she's gonna do that.
She whips around as you do that, and both her hand grabs your wrist to deflect it, and you wrench your wrist free just as a natural instinct, and you both have this like moment of like,
Anyway.
Avantika goes, actually, I think ladies first.
Well, I would insist to join you if that is the case.
May the best one win, huh? And she dives in. You both hit. She looks up at you and her eyes meet, and you see a few bubbles kind of escape from her mouth, and you see her just big, wide, toothy grin. And she begins scraping grime off the floor.
I do the same.
All right, make an investigation check.
I don't know what I'm looking for. 23.
23?
Yeah, boy.
5.
Take that shit.
Well, as the two of you are currently scraping bits of grime and algae off the ground, you can see now there are bits of plants that are kind of growing up like lightless kelp that seems to have made some sort of a living down here in the subterranean water-filled chamber. And as you're pushing through and scraping around, your hand scoops this large bit of grime from in front of you, and you can see what looks to be a stone relief at the very, very base of the bottom, a concave spherical shape about the size of a fist. She notices it, looks at it, and looks at you. What are you doing?
Can I try and like stick my hand in my chest?
You can.
Does it go anywhere?
You go and jam your hand, and it's hitting your armor. It's
yeah.
You have a full-on leather plate right there.
I don't know what to do. Like the size of a fist?
Yeah, or like,
But it's like a sphere, right?
It's about that big, and you can see it is concave. It's about the size of the stone that you had found.
Yeah, that's in my body.
Poop it out.
I don't know how. I don't have an eject button. Can I summon the falchion?
You can. The falchion appears in your hand, and as you do, this bright yellow light is now emanating from the center of its hilt, where the eye itself is glowing with its own lantern-like source. At which point, Avantika is now rushing towards that
Something's
thing.
about to happen, and I just jam the eye.
Make an initiative roll, because you gave her enough time to get up right next to you, and now we're going to see who gets to it first.
Oh, 6.
6. Her hand, she's now pulled the glove from her right hand, and as you go to thrust the hilt of the falchion down towards it, you see her hand reach out and just manage to cover the little space first. As it does, you can see her body kind of like tense for a second, and where her hand is, suddenly this bright, familiar yellow glow seems to now spread from between her fingers, sending beams off in multiple directions. You see her face looks like aghast and shock for a second, and a large bubble kind of escapes from her mouth. She looks over to you with this kind of dazed look and pulls her hand back, and there you can see in the palm, there's this large open wound where like blood's beginning to just kind of like cloud the dark water below, and there in the center of this hole you can see one of the cloven stones there. At which point you see a bunch of these runes begin to glow in 3 different directions from around the base, up the sides, up the chamber. The rest of you, kind of looking around, suddenly see this kind of dull blue glow begin to get brighter and brighter from within this well, and you watch as these runes that you guys didn't notice, except for the 2 of you before, begin to suddenly begin to glow up the sides. The 3 pillars suddenly begin to spiral and glow as all these runes come to life. And you see as Avantika pulls back and looks at her hand, she looks back at you, her eyes kind of blink for a second, and she just smiles, and you hear this earth-shuddering, soulful crack sound just rocks the entirety of the temple. You watch as bubbles suddenly, like this one burst of air that had been trapped in the grime below is all immediately released as one, kind of rise up to the water above, and you can look around and you can see the interior of this. There is a heavy black crack in the stone of this chamber. As you guys all hear this earth-shattering BAM! Dust kind of falls off the ceiling of this chamber from the inside. You look and you watch as the pillars themselves still stand, but there are multiple places in this chamber now where these large black cracks now seem to have snaked their way in one instant burst across parts of the wall. Avantika is now swimming frantically up towards the surface.
Frantically?
Like, just trying to kick. She lost quite a bit of air.
I'll go grab her.
You go grab her? Okay, make a grapple check, make an athletics check.
Cold.
Oh, 7.
7, no, she kicks right out of your grasp. She looks back with an expression of surprise.
Pointing at the ground.
Make a deception check.
Travis, you have your fate too.
Natural 20.
Okay, she looks confused and continues swimming upward, not reading too much into it.
Okay.
But yeah, she continues to clamber up to the surface. The final shots are sent off to deflect any interest in following or pursuing you towards the boats. As you guys are trying to make some distance here, you look over at Avantika, who has her one ungloved hand. You can see kind of the gap where the open wound is just a little bit of blood trickling down her forearm where the eye once was. And she kind of looks at it and closes her fist, and closes her eyes, and you feel the rowboat suddenly pick up speed. And you watch as the water and the waves now kind of give an additional thrust, like the ocean itself is like rising and pushing the boat forward. And you watch Avantika kind of open her eyes and smile and looks over at Ford and goes, well, better luck next time, huh? The boat is now like speed boating across the surface of the water. The other rowboat kind of left behind in its wake.
One die roll, man.
One die roll. And helps her to her feet and says like, so, how did it go? Tell us. And Avantika shows her hand. It was a resounding success. And I would say that our new compatriots have proven their worth with flying colors. She goes and gives like a, ow, ow. And I do believe, and you see Jametti sitting on the ground and goes, yes, you have earned what our contract assured you. Please, Vera, if you could retrieve the payment. Vera leaves, and a moment comes back with a small chest and hands it over to Jametti, who sets it into his pouch and satchel. He stands up for a second, nods his head. I hope you understand that with all due respect, this is our last time working together. And the captain says, I understand, but it is your loss. There is always more work for you. Where would you like to be dropped off?
In the graveyard.
At this point, Vera says, Captain, at this moment, it appears that we are maybe 11 days of supplies, given the fact that our crew has now swelled. As such, we could probably make it back to Doctor to also complete the repairs on the mist, as it is seaworthy, but I do not know how long. So that would be my recommendation. Maybe making a stop or two along the way, whatever's close by. The captain considers. Very well. I guess we will make our way westward onto Doctor to get repairs done, to supply up, and should you wish to stay, make our way to the next leg of our journey. Who knows? It seems that you are up for your own rewards to be reaped, huh?
Indeed. Such a mighty display on the way back. I feel like I would be left wanting if I didn't try and pursue the same sort of glory.
Of course. Well, these gifts are paltry. Once Okatoa is truly free, then the true blessing can be given.
Captain, may I ask, you knew of this location already. Do you have a lead on another?
I have a lead on someone that should be in Dark Tor that will be able to, with the right amount of coin, give us the information we seek. Hopefully. If not, well, we'll be sitting there with our thumbs up our asses. But I've paid well enough, and this person has come through before, so fingers crossed, eh?
Indeed.
Regardless, I think we could all use a bit of rest, huh? Looks over to Caduceus.
That would be amiable at this point.
Understood. Get Jeremiah to get food cooking immediately. I think a fine meal and a full night's rest is in order. Friends, I'm impressed. And I'm thankful that you not only upheld your side of the bargain, but you proved yourselves as quite formidable mercenaries. I mean, no disrespect to some of my crew, but when we get back to Doctor, she looks at some of the crew. Turn around. Some kind of... Maybe we'll do some trade-off, eh? Send some of them over to the mist, and maybe you'll stay with me for a while.
We would certainly entertain that very notion. It's hard to think past any sort of arrest.
Sorry, I thought that was hypothetical, and that we were just, talk about that later, which we should do.
Very well. Then we will get some sleep. In the morrow, we will discuss how much money we can make together. We'll discuss. We can probably make a stop or two along the way if you're interested. Bring up some map and see what you want to do. And when you've had a bit of rest, maybe a glass of wine.
Of course.
All right. Go. Rest. Sleep. I shall do the same.
Good night.
She walks back to the quarters.
A long rest.
You head your way to the captain's quarters?
I do.
All right. You head to the door. It's closed. You hear, like, from a moment, you hear this kind of, it sounds like the sound of rushing water.
She's cleaning up.
I'll try the door.
Okay, it opens up. It's the normal kind of office, kind of den setup, but there's the balcony out back that opens up, and there in the balcony, Avantika's standing on the balcony, and you can see there's this, like, column of water that's rising up out of the ocean, and she's nude. And it's just washing her. Like, she's kind of in the process. She's in the throes of kind of manipulating this water, she's just learning whatever this new gifted power that she has, and is just, her hair is twirling up into the stream, and it's this beautiful almost dance between her and this elemental force that she now has. And she kind of looks back over her shoulder at you, knowing that you've been there for at least a couple minutes. I'll be just a moment.
Don't rush on my account.
Eventually the water splashes down and off the side. She walks back out of the night air and pulls her hair up and kind of ties it off.
I've seen this film.
Takes the little silk robe and places it over and sits down. There are already 2 glasses placed on the table, and she uncorks it and pours 2 glasses.
To your success.
To our success in time, eh?
One can hope. It's only fair. You've been on this journey far longer than I have.
This is true. Not the best wine you've had, but it's serviceable.
Not aerated.
Well, I am excited for you to experience this.
I am as well. Is it everything you thought it would be?
I've only but scratched the surface, and I've never felt a connection like this with the sea that has been my life. It's incredible. I can only do it in bursts, but I can cause it to swell and move and part and flood and shift. It's soon. She reaches out and touches the top of your hand. Soon, I promise. Now, we were talking before, and I think it's only fair. And she takes another big sip. Your blade is very interesting. I knew one other who had a blade very similar. Referred to it as the Sword of Fathoms.
Sword of Fathoms.
The previous chosen.
Can you tell me more about this person who wielded it?
His name was Vansley. A fine sailor and a foolish coward he ended up to be, but he was the one that opened my eyes to the destiny for Kotora. We traveled together for a number of years before he just abandoned and absconded with something important. I've been trying to find out where he went, but he is very slippery, and wherever he is, either what you have in your sword is what he took away, or wherever he is, he has the third with him.
And this Vandrin, you say he told you about the Sword of Fathoms, or he had a Sword of Fathoms?
He carried the same blade.
Carried the same one. Was there an area, a destination, a direction that you last knew that he was going? Is it in our interest to try and find him?
It is very much in our interests. We were going to go and visit this very island some time ago, when he was the only one to have one of these orbs.
How did you find, if you don't mind my asking, yours?
Well, I had to kill a number of men. It was being auctioned off in Port du Malais. And there was a collector. Word had gotten to us that this artifact was sold off to this individual. And, well, needless to say, he put up a bit of a struggle.
I'm sure he did.
But thankfully, this collector enjoyed nights long at sea, and that happens to be our specialty. So his corpse now adorns one of the many beautiful islands, and, well, now I have this beautiful reminder in the hand. You can see it's now mostly healed over. But there is like a scar where this orb once resided in her palm.
I'll stand and just kind of pace around the quarters, looking at the various iconography of the serpent.
As you're pacing, she just kind of talks towards you. It's very interesting that you carry the same blade as Van Zoin did. And come to me with what could very well be the same orb. Do you know this one? This Van Zoin?
I don't. Well, we should find him.
Make a deception check.
23. This sword came to me in a very unusual way. I've been a sailor for many years myself and was lost at sea during a storm. And when I woke up, I found myself on the shore, and there in the waves next to me was this sword. I don't know how I got there, but as soon as I grasped it, it changed everything. The sword, however, did not have the eye we found later, my companions and me.
Who else was on this ship with you?
Various other sailors. Our captain.
Who is your captain?
Captain Twitchwood. Do you know him?
She smiles. I appreciate that you are a very accomplished liar. But so am I. And the only reason I still sit here before you with the dozen or so scars I carry is because I have been very keen at seeing through the same skill.
A 23 level skill? Okay.
His name was Captain Wiggledick.
Then I'm sure you can understand the need for secrecy for a small circle.
You know Van Zoin, don't you?
I do.
And he was on this ship that you shipwrecked on, eh? Do you remember where the storm was?
I remember where we found the stone.
Do you remember where the storm was?
The storm?
That sunk the ship you were on?
Yes.
And this was the last time you saw Van Zoin?
I feel like you know the rest of this story, and I'm at a disadvantage.
I don't necessarily. I've not seen Van Zoin since he absconded with this... many things. But he would not travel without both that sword you carry and the orb he stole from us. So wherever that ship has sunken, there's a very good chance that it has the third missing orb. Do you remember where the ship sunk? She reaches down and pulls out a map and rolls it out on the table before you. Put your map up.
Yeah.
Just splash acid on it. Got this.
Oh, man.
Get it.
Now, between you and I,
yes.
We were. There was a storm. Do I remember?
You do recall.
Okay.
Actually, it was somewhere coming back along this trade route.
Okay.
And somewhere in this space, the storm had blown through, and this is where it sank. And you washed up.
Dark Toe's over here.
Dark Toe's over here. You washed up on this island here.
We're over here.
You guys are over there at Urukazel. You washed up over here. But the storm was in this vicinity.
Okay. Yep. Fuck it. Yes. I do remember where the ship sank.
Then, my friend, I think we're going to do even more amazing things together.
I agree. I believe that will have to wait until we find ourselves on Dark Toe, though.
I've been patient this long. I can be patient a bit further. Very well. And she kind of leans her forward with the wine glass very close and goes, "It's been a very long day. I think rest is in order."
I would agree.
She takes a big, long drink of wine, sets it down. Well, there are ways to complete a hopeful future pact together. Many different ways. So,
Fate to tentacles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, I'm going for it. I will. Oh god. Okay. Yep. I will keep Avantika's hand and walk around the desk. And I will try the old lean in and see what the reaction is.
Man, all right.
Oh man, I'm getting some Twitch wood right here.
Quickly, her hand grabs the back of your head and pulls you in.
Oh, shit.
I'm very mixed about this whole thing.
Yeah.
She's a very powerful woman, and you find yourself very quickly overpowered. And you are allowed to... for the sake of brevity. Not the most restful evening you've had, but an evening is had.
How many points of exhaustion?
Glancing at the top, you can see Avantika has climbed to the center of the main mast and to where one of the crow's nests up top. And looking down, kind of points to you forward and goes, "Quartermaster, call 2 of your compatriots that you trust to the top with me."
Will do. Jester. Deuce.
Yeah.
Up top.
Oh, yeah, I like it up there.
All right, so you guys climb up the main mast to the crow's nest, and there you see Avantika with a spyglass. And she leans into the 3 of you, directing mainly towards Ford, and goes, "So, now that we are at sea, I want to show you something." And she pulls out the spyglass and holds it over to you and kind of helps you point it in a direction. Here you see what looks to be a vessel. A little ways off on the horizon, a little bit north of where you are, like a northwestward direction. She kind of whispers over your shoulder so the rest of you can hear. So, glancing at the ship ahead of us, it appears to be a Concord ship. A shipping vessel, probably, carrying trade goods. It appears to be equipped for rapid travel, but we could head it off. As my quartermaster, I ask you for your opinion. What should we do?
Oh, well, sure, it's a ship of innocence. We don't want to stray from our path, correct?
Take a look. What do you see?
I'll use the spyglass.
Make a perception check.
Torturing orphans on the deck.
20.
20. Okay. Glancing at it, it's a pretty well-made ship. It's meant for speed. It doesn't appear to be heavily manned. It's not carrying or transporting people. It doesn't seem to be a transport ship of any means. You see a handful of small sailors on board with a hand crossbow or a saber that's sheathed at its side. You see on the deck a handful of crates that were not kept in beneath, which means it's probably pretty well packed. It does appear to be Concord colors, so it's probably traveling. Since traveling southward, you gather it's probably recently finished, especially with your experience as a sailor, finished stocking up on all its materials, its travel supplies, and its goods, and is based on the path it's heading southward. It's either going to arc around to Taldore or be heading in the direction of Marquette, or possibly, if it's feeling risky, the Shattered Teeth.
Captain, are you in a habit of intercepting said vessels in your time at sea?
Depends if it's if we can do so quickly without losing any sort of momentum, perhaps. Not all, ships are boarded and there's a loss of life. Most, I'd say, probably 80% of encounters out here is just intimidation. Most just let us take what we want and continue on our way. They don't want to die.
It's important that you know in my previous life I had encounters with pirating vessels as well, and most of those experiences I did not enjoy.
Well, to be fair, there are plenty of assholes on these waters, so it does not surprise me. But it is your choice, I say. You may talk amongst your friends, but there is opportunity.
You say no need for a loss of life?
Not unless they, how do you say, are stupid.
Or stubborn.
Either.
It could be, just like go in and take stuff, but maybe we could also give them something.
What would we give them?
I don't know, like new names or pretty drawings or
Fine art.
yeah, we could just make it a fun time for them.
An aggressive trade? Interesting.
Very well.
What is your decision?
As long as we abstain as well as we can from violence, and as long as your men in the crew understand my disgust at such tactics, I think we can make our way towards an intercept.
You watch as this kind of playful look on her face as she watches this discourse turns into this extremely intense, almost Joker-like grin. And she goes, well then, welcome to piracy, my friends. Come. And she jumps off the side and heads the ropes down and begins shouting off commands to people on the ship. All right, as you guys come across, the rest of Avantika's crew pulls over the gangplanks. They pull up anchor. And Avantika, looking over the opposite side, goes, do not pull up your anchor until we are beyond your sight. If we see you shift beforehand, we will turn right back around. The other side of the crew nods. Sails unfurl. Wind picks up. Ship begins to move. And you begin continuing to head westward. And at which point, once you're a little bit out of earshot, and Avantika is keeping an eye off the edge of the ship, looks back at the rest of you and kind of... The rest of the crew begins to clap, and there's a bit of applause. And with that, my friends, welcome truly to what it means to be free on the sea. I'm proud of you. So, let's see what you found. And they go to start opening the chest.
Yeah.
Ford.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 days out from the reefs, you go to bed that night. And as sleep takes you, you find yourself kicking through the thick, sludge-like waters that surround you. Sluggish in your movements. The darkness all-encompassing. Yourself alone in these shadowed depths. A faint green light is visible in the distance. You push and swim towards it, the light growing brighter, closer. As that grows closer, a second light, even further, impossibly distant. But you can acknowledge it, rests on the horizon. As that first light gets brighter, you can see the source taking shape. It's a figure, female, nude, also swimming. Avantika, emanating this strange green glow, swimming ahead of you, her body wreathed in this faint greenish yellow aura. She looks and points to you, and the waters around you seem to glow with the same colored light. You look down at your body and you see that you are now the third glowing source of this green energy. And suddenly the waters are easy to traverse. What was once sluggish and difficult to ford is second nature. A voice comes through. Watching. The distant light you see suddenly dives with incredible speed, nearly out of sight. Avantika dives down after it, rocketing down below you, breakneck in her speed. You dart after her to give chase, moving far quicker than you anticipated. You realize the water is becoming thinner and thinner, like air. You're falling. 3 shooting stars plummeting through a dark sky. Learn. Glancing down below this endless void you plummet towards, you make out the details of what seems to be a surface rushing towards you. You plummet towards an ocean. The faint, distant, endless glittering of moving, shifting waves of some sourceless moonlight just barely giving the shapes below. With 3 large masses beneath you, like a misshapen triangle of land masses of incongruent sizes. 1, 2, 3. You rocket downward towards the space between the 3, the center of this triangle, hitting the waters of the ocean with tremendous force, impact but no pain. You sink, the light of the other 2 figures glittering through the lightless waters. Down, down you sink, until you see a structure come into view from below. A tilted tower wrapped in sea vines, the hollow center providing a wide tunnel further within it. You peer inside this empty tunnel of the tower's depths and watch as a sudden bright yellow light shines from within, a gleaming yellow eye. Reward. As the 2 other lights seem to try and drift towards you, behind you, you fall into darkness and the dream ends. Now, Darktoll means protection. It means family. And family shares its good fortune. He looks to Avantika, and she now kicks the chest across and scrapes. He stops it with his foot and kicks open the lid, and the coins are there now, visible, a couple kind of spilling out. I accept your tribute. Welcome back. We'll get your ships open, fixed real soon. Welcome to the Revelry. Now, you all sorry lot, you have certainly shacked up with one of the craziest lasses of the Slovene Islands. That's for sure.
Crazy, all right.
Damn dream chaser she be.
What?
So be warned where she leads you. She's crazy. Fucking nuts.
Thought that the entire time.
Yeah.
She looks up at him and goes, "Oh, you're quite a beat yourself there, master." Kind of grins to himself. And with that, you make your way out, back to the stone steps. Avantika sees you all exiting and goes, "Well, that was harrowing and necessary, but over. Now for drinking, yes?"
Indeed, he seems like quite the benevolent leader.
He's certainly a series of adjectives, yes, I'll give you that.
How long has he been in a seat of rule?
Well over a decade, probably.
Yeah.
How much on average do you pay him to not kill you?
Oh, well, it's not paying him to not kill us. It's sharing in our spoils to better the community.
And if you didn't share your spoils?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Right.
He has beautiful hair.
Yeah, it's lush.
Yeah, it was something.
Nevertheless, I'm going to get drunk. Who's with me?
Here, let's go.
All right.
Follow.
Come on. She smiles and turns around, and you all begin to make your trek down the somewhat slick stone steps to the darkened city of Darktoe, the glittering firelight, open windows below leading you to what other revelry the evening has in store.
Yeah.
I catch up to her a little bit. Hey, Avantika.
Yes?
Weird question.
Possibly a weird answer.
How much do you know? Like, how do you know how to give a certain amount to Avantika? Sorry, the Planking. Freudian slip.
Well, when we return into the bay, we are to essentially give the materials, or at least a number of what we've managed to acquire. We are supposed to essentially, what is the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? My brain is
Tithe?
What did you look
I don't know.
tithe. I would say
Planking you.
when you're going through customs, and you have to declare. Thank you.
There it is.
You must declare the amount of which you had recently come upon, and from that there is a tithe offered to the Plank King, roughly about 25-30%.
Wow.
But we do not pay for our ship repairs. We have free asylum here within the island, and we are under the strict law that if anyone double crosses anyone else within the boundaries of the city, they will have the hammer of the Plank King done upon them.
It's very intense.
But it's a way of life.
So it's less like a government and more of like a union that you buy into?
More or less, yes.
All right.
They're not much into governing, more
But
just
a union with a dictator?
a union with a very hard-headed and forthright union leader.
Do you ever think you could make a good union leader?
Nah, I have my own specific interests. They're much more narrow.
Huh.
Why? Do you have aspirations?
No.
I didn't think so.
Who needs aspirations?
Well, some of us do. There has to be more to you than just this contradictory, for the sake of being contradictory aspect, huh?
I would love for you to tell me about it someday.
Come, let's have a drink, huh?
Yeah.
First round's on me. Hard to follow since it's shorthand, like it's broken sentences and pieces. They look to be notes from dreams.
Oh, shit.
That could be good
Yes,
stuff.
yes it could. Yes it could. It's got the apricot tree.
Please be an almanac. Sorry.
it goes through discussions of mentions of Vandrin, mentions of being given the mark, the eye on her person, and after a ritual that was shown to her by Vandrin, the dreams began. The dreams involved this great eye coming to her, with phrases written down: provoke, consume, learn, reward. Begins to discuss images that involve having to fight through dark waters, having to follow signs, being promised power with gifts and actions that show leadership and drive towards this entity. It spoke about Vandrin guiding her, and then spoke about him getting cold feet. Spoke on him mistrusting the dreams and his weakness. And it spoke on an attempt to then gift Vandrin as a sacrifice. But he got away.
So Caleb would, seeing this play out as he reads, would explain it all very carefully.
You're also memorizing.
And delicately, because he knows how conflicted a subject, how charged a subject it would be for thought. But does tell everyone in the room everything.
And then discusses the search for Vandrin for months and months, to no avail. Eventually changing focus to instead continue to improve the joyous boons and earn the yellow light of the eye. More dreams with patterns of figures in her way, people that were close to her that she felt were barricades, chains that held her back, and getting rid of them. You're not entirely certain what getting rid of them means, but at least out of the path. Finding others that begin to also learn of the joys and the promise of ruling this sea, and how no matter how much Dark Toe is the center of the revelry and the power of the Plank King, who can possibly not choose to bend the knee to those who control the oceans they sail on? It then goes to talk about other notes and scavenged bits, talking about the founding or the finding of Urukazel, of the difficulties in hiring people that would go there, the hiring of Jamedi to search it out finally over time. And you find some other notes about another location from another dream she had that involves 3 land masses of different shapes. There's a few notes and questions around it, but one of them does say archipelago, question mark, and seems to mark these as a possible.
3 landmasses right there.
Nah.
She's cooked.
And then it goes into a few brief phrases about the newcomers, discussing how the mist was taken. And it's not a lot written in this book.
Which one's her favorite? Which one's her favorite?
All it says is, I found another chosen. Perhaps this one will be more useful than Vandrin. See, there's Avantika, Vera, the rest of the crew are all there. As you can see, the crew of the Mistake are brought to the edge of the dock and are kind of held there and waiting. You guys are brought up on there.
Where's the mistake?
You don't know where the Mistake is docked. You didn't see it when you came in.
Copy.
There are like probably 20 plus ships that are all across the docks here.
Okay.
As you guys are brought to the edge of the ship.
Burning so many calories right now.
I've never felt more in trouble.
We gotta get this book off the fucking boat.
Stop.
Well, you're on the deck right now. The deck of the Squall Leader.
That's a sure way to get it seen.
Avantika sees you approach, goes, "Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Well, I apologize for the problems. This should only take a moment to just discuss. It appears we've had a bit of an incident overnight, and I wanted to let everyone know that there may have been some issues rifling through. Over here, Walduck was so unfortunately shivved by one of our compatriots and shoots a glare over at Zoe, who's like, I'm sorry. But it has come to our attention that there has also been, well, to be perfectly honest, a break-in to my personal chambers. I know. Some of my personal belongings have gone missing. And I wanted to ask if anybody has seen anything throughout the night. I already spoke with a few of the crew who were here before. I've not spoken with you. Walduck, did you see anything? And Walduck was like, I was sleeping, and then suddenly this piece of shit fell through the ceiling and landed on top of me, and I was just... it was the other way around. Walduck got stabbed. So Walduck goes, I was walking, and I heard some noise inside your chambers. I went to inspect it, unlocked the door, went in, and things seemed fine, but then I fell through the fucking floor onto Soren, and he was sitting in bed sleeping, and he just fucking started stabbing me. And someone's like, you woke me up, what am I supposed to do? And where the fuck are we? Anyway, we looked at the floor, and somebody had broken the floor, probably snuck in somehow. And the captain goes, thank you for that. Also, it appears that Bark here had strange delusions and fell or leapt, apparently, from the crow's nest. Did you see anything in particular? He's like, I mean, it was crazy. It caught fire, and I jumped to get away from it, and there was no fire. She goes, so it appears that there may have been some sort of a distraction. Well, has anybody else seen anything of particular interest last night? And by the way, Caduceus, I heard that you were very helpful in helping our compatriots with their wounds.
Yeah, it was no problem.
I appreciate you being a team player.
Well, it looked, that leg was pretty rough.
Is this a frequent occurrence when you're in Dark Toe, this sort of...
Oh, certainly not. To be perfectly honest, whoever did this does not understand the rules of the city very well.
I can, can find creatures, I can't find objects.
Vera? And Vera's kind of sitting back there and nods. And like, see her fingers kind of trace this weird symbol in the air that leaves like a slight trace. And her eyes kind of flare for a second, and she goes, but that is okay, because I can.
I take a bit of phosphorus and squelch it through my hand and cast Wall of Fire across the entire length of the boat between them and us.
That's what we're going to pick up next week. It's the woman of the hour. What have you to say about yourself and these strangers that come waltzing into our little haven and causing all sorts of ruckus, murdering your crew and making these claims against you? Known you for years. And Avantika, hand behind in shackles, goes, well, you can see her face, though you can see the bits where like dirt, sweat lines have made their way across and down her, the sides of her chin and jaw, looking intently at the rest of you with a forced smile through her teeth. There is a look of murderous rage and loss in her eyes as you have murdered a majority of her crew. She goes, well, I can guarantee that I kept no journal. They came to me at sea with discussion of perhaps coming and joining my crew, looking for means of aid and gold. And they began to talk of this strange entity, this Ukatoa. Well, I followed suit. I wanted to make for some kind of alliance. I kind of found particular interest with one of their individuals, and she looks over towards Ford. But it seems such a romance was merely just another way to try and toss me to the proverbial wolves, or marrow, if it will. They've now killed my crew, they've taken a number of my things, damaged my ship, and they're trying to smear my name, one who has walked alongside you and all of you fine folks for the past 10 years. Even using the memory of Vandrin against me. You hear a few voices go like, Vandrin. Vandrin raised this one. And he sabotaged his ship. Blew it asunder in the middle of the ocean. And that was the last he was seen. He's already killed one of our own. Is this untrue?
Is she talking to me?
Yeah.
From the crowd, I'm gonna go, she's lying. We always knew she had it in for the
Plank.
All eyes are on you.
Plank King, if I may, my ears, though pointy, can only stand a certain amount of dishonesty. I would prefer to cut through the bull. There are those of us among us who can make sure that the truth is spoken here. I would beg of you to allow that to happen now.
Make a persuasion check.
Natural 20.
What? The Plank King gives you this very severe look, his eyes narrowed and glancing you up and down, almost piercing you with but a glance. And he raises his head with a grin and goes, "Oh, what's necessary for such a thing?"
I do, and Jester does.
You do?
Yeah, it takes me literally punching the shit out of Avantika, though.
Honorable Plank King, the means justify the ends. My compatriot here will place her cobalt knuckles upon the chin of Avantika, and you will hear the truth. You need but only ask your questions again.
Be my guest. Avantika is like, yeah, what is,
Before she...
She's manticled and being held by two guards from behind. Wow. It's auto hit.
Holy shit.
So,
go for the temple.
Do you have a key point left?
Yeah, I have all my key points left.
Yeah.
More or less.
Our history.
All but one. Yep.
All right, what's the DC on that?
9, I'm assuming, which is 14. Hang on. Features and traits.
Yeah, whatever your DC is for all of your monk stuff.
Oh my god.
Monk stuff.
Extra, yeah, 14.
14, okay.
Yeah.
It's a wisdom save. No. That's a natural 8. Natural 8 plus 4, 12. 12.
Yeah.
So all these different hits and pressure points are hit, like under the chin, that area, another to the sternum, and then another that clocks the temple, and Avantika just. Oh.
They are unable to speak a deliberate lie for 1 minute, and all charisma checks have advantage.
And intimidation checks?
Charisma.
Oh, charisma checks, yeah, persuasion, everything else, that's right, yeah.
Make sure you just tell the Plank King it's a limited time engagement.
Okay, so she's like, oh.
You have 60 seconds, but I have more knuckles.
The Plank King steps forward. Avantika, is what they're saying true? And she goes, glances aside. Doesn't respond. He leans forward closer.
Speak a lie.
Tell me, is what they're saying true? Is that book containing passages where you're looking to take this island for yourself? Her eyes look away. She just looks down at the rest of the dock. He leans in real close, pushing his forehead almost to hers. Look me in the eye, woman.
Oh my God.
And she just doesn't meet his gaze. By the power of the revelry that surrounds me, let this be a lesson to those who would work against the words we swore to each other on this land. And may your memory be besmirched for the few days it's recalled. And he reaches forward and grabs Avantika by the throat and lifts her up, and she's like fighting against the... just kind of lifts her and looks her. I hope you see God, whatever it is very merciful on the other side. And just breaks her neck with one hand. Her body goes limp in his grasp, and he throws it to the docks. Don't worry about the cipher.
As you're up on the staircase, you hear the shouts and look over and you see this creature out of the corner of your eye and the necklace shatter, and you watch as amongst all the rummage that falls to the ground scattering, you see the one little yellow orb kind of roll off to this direction. And right as you're having this, you hear something go to your right side, and you look over, and just pulling up on the side of the boat, you see a humanoid figure with ice clusters gathered around its shoulders. You see this large brimmed hat and this plume of feathers, palish skin with a twisted, broken semblance on the neck, the eyes glowing faintly blue.
Yes!
As you see the visage of Captain Avantika. Go. Darling, we have business elsewhere. I got what I came for. I'm just gonna use your last slot to cast Dimension Door.
Oh no.
And you are T-Rex.
T-Rex.
Yep.
Oh no.
Damn it.
Wait, does that give an opportunity attack? It
No.
doesn't.
Nope.
You don't get an attack.
Just move.
Unless anyone has the Mage Slayer feat,
No.
then no.
Well, Porter, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
Do you not have a
He already burned
You
it.
burned your
Yeah,
counter
he
spell.
uses counter
Oh, he
spell.
doesn't have
I
one.
only have like 2 spell slots.
Something we can do. Can we get
You just see her look over the edge of the boat this way, and then bring her blade up to her face and kind of give like a half bow to all of you, and then vanish in purple smoke.
20, 34 points of damage.
34 points of damage. How do you want to do this?
Oh man.
Yes!
Oh
my god.
Shit. I'll swim up to her, and on the first strike, it turns her, and on the second one, as I bring the sword back around, you see like yellow energy shimmer from the water around Ford, and it collects and runs up through him, and the runes pulse on the Star Razor.
You
and
all
channel
watch. As the runes pulse up on the Star Razor, the blade itself seems to almost extend an additional 1.5 inches. You watch as additional runes that previously were not visible on the blade begin to appear on the outer edge of the base of the blade.
What? I was just making that shit up!
Continue.
They pulse, Ford's yellow eyes flash, because fuck Ukatoa, and just bisect her.
As the blade impacts and cuts through the body, you just see the swing, all the energy streaks through, and there's a moment where it's just calm and still in the darkness below. Avantika doesn't react. The blade itself now goes dark. And you watch as the center of the chest, a thin line of white light appears. Her head lolls down towards it and looks back up towards you. And as she opens her mouth, the inside of her mouth is glowing with that same light.
as it bursts, completely sending the upper part of her torso and the lower half of her body scattering from each other. As in the middle of this space, it's like when you see a depth charge explode. There's a under the water before it vanishes there, leaving the two parts of her just setting adrift, lifeless and unlifeless in the dark depths